In the 21st century, very few bilateral relationships will shape the course of global politics as profoundly as that between the United States and India. Some partnerships are transactional, others are strategic. But the relationship between Washington and New Delhi is increasingly transformational. Leaders and administrations will come and go, Trump, Biden, or whoever follows. But the underlying structure of U.S.-India relations has already been hardwired into the global order. This relationship extends far beyond trade negotiations or diplomatic optics. It is anchored in defense cooperation, strategic alignment, institutional depth, and people-to-people ties that make it both resilient and future-proof. In this deep dive, we will examine why the U.S.-India partnership is destined to be the most consequential relationship of the 21st century, why the Trump presidency was only a transitional phase, and why the strength of this partnership lies in its deep institutional character, not the personal whims of leaders. Before we move forward, please like, share, and subscribe Strategic Vanguard and be up to date with the latest news and happenings from the world of defense, strategic, and international affairs. Tune into our video channels in YouTube and Rumble. And if you want to hear the audio version, tune into our Strategic Vanguard channels in Spotify and Amazon Music. The story of U.S.-India relations is not one of linear growth. It has been marked by distrust, divergence, and gradual reconciliation. During the Cold War, India leaned toward the Soviet Union, while the U.S. aligned itself with Pakistan as part of its containment strategy against communism. The result was a long period of estrangement between Washington and New Delhi. But history began to shift in the 1990s. With the collapse of the Soviet Union, India's liberalization reforms, and Washington's recognition of India's growing weight in Asia, a strategic convergence began to take shape. 1998 nuclear tests, the U.S. imposed sanctions, but behind the scenes, dialogue opened up. 2000's nuclear deal. The landmark U.S.-India civil nuclear agreement under George W. Bush laid the foundation for a new era. It recognized India as a responsible nuclear power, opening pathways for technology transfer and defense cooperation. Obama years, the pivot to Asia strategy further elevated India's role in balancing China, while Obama's visit to India symbolized the rise of a new strategic partnership. By the time Donald Trump entered the White House in 2017, U.S.-India relations had already matured into something beyond the transactional. Trump's presidency was marked by protectionism and an America First doctrine. On the surface, this created friction with India. Trade disputes over tariffs and market access became sticking points. Washington removed India from the Generalized System of Preferences, GSP, affecting billions in trade benefits. Yet, beneath the rhetoric, Trump presided over some of the most significant strategic advances in the partnership. He elevated the Indo-Pacific strategy, explicitly framing India as a key pillar in balancing China. Trump revived the Quad, bringing together the US, India, Japan, and Australia in a loose security alignment. He emphasized military cooperation, selling advanced defense equipment to India, and increasing joint military exercises. Trump may have been a transitional figure, but his tenure solidified India's place in America's strategic worldview. If Trump made India central to the U.S. strategy in Asia, the Biden administration institutionalized the relationship. Under Biden, the U.S.-India partnership has expanded into new domains. Defense agreements. Comcasa, Bika, and Lamoa have deepened interoperability between the two militaries. Technology and defense co-development, jet engine cooperation, armed drones, cybersecurity, and space exploration are now on the agenda. Climate and energy. India and the U.S. are collaborating on clean energy transitions. Democracy and values. Biden emphasizes the partnership as one between the world's two largest democracies. Institutional frameworks matter because they create continuity. Unlike personal diplomacy, which depends on leaders, agreements and joint mechanisms ensure that the partnership survives political transitions. Before we move forward, please like, share, and subscribe Strategic Vanguard and be up to date with the latest news and happenings from the world of defense, strategic, and international affairs. Tune into our video channels in YouTube and Rumble. And if you want to hear the audio version, tune into our Strategic Vanguard channels in Spotify and Amazon Music. What makes U.S.-India ties unique is the depth of institutional integration. Military-to-military cooperation, regular joint exercises, Malabar, Naval, UD-ABS, Army, COPE India Air Force. Defense logistics, mutual access to bases facilitating rapid deployment in the Indo-Pacific. Intelligence and strategic dialogue. Expanded intelligence sharing frameworks. Cooperation on counterterrorism and maritime domain awareness. People-to-people connections. A vibrant Indian diaspora in the U.S., over 4 million strong, shaping technology, business, and politics. Indian origin leaders like Kamala Harris reflect the depth of cultural integration. Economic interdependence. U.S. is one of India's largest trading partners. Technology supply chains increasingly rely on India as an alternative to China. Shared strategic concerns, counterbalancing China's rise. Securing freedom of navigation in the Indo-Pacific. Preventing authoritarian influence over global institutions. This makes the relationship resilient to political shocks. The 21st century will not be defined by one superpower, but by a multipolar competition. In this context, India and the U.S. share overlapping imperatives. The China factor. Beijing's military rise threatens both Washington's dominance and India's sovereignty. Both nations converge in wanting to prevent a Chinese hegemony in Asia. The Indo-Pacific. The world's economic future flows through these waters. India's geostrategic location is indispensable to U.S. security. Technology and innovation, AI, semiconductors, cyber defense, and space are arenas of collaboration. Defense industrial cooperation, co-production of aircraft engines, drones, and missile defense systems can redefine the partnership. Geopolitical blocks, Quad, I2U2, and potential alignment with AUKUS partners expand India's strategic reach. No relationship is without friction. For the U.S. and India, challenges include trade disputes. Market access and tariff disagreements remain unresolved. Russia factor. India's historical dependence on Russian arms complicates alignment with U.S. sanctions. Domestic politics. Shifts in leadership could create temporary friction, though institutions provide stability. Human rights and values. Divergences in democratic practices could occasionally strain rhetoric. But none of these challenges outweigh the structural incentives for cooperation. As we look ahead, it is clear that the U.S.-India relationship is not a marriage of convenience, nor a short-term alignment. It is a strategic necessity for both sides. Trump's term highlighted the transactional pressures. Biden's term has emphasized institutional depth. But in truth, the U.S.-India partnership has outgrown personalities. It is a hardwired relationship, grounded in defense, strategic imperatives, economic interdependence, and democratic values. For India, the U.S. is a vital partner in modernizing its military, securing its neighborhood, and asserting its role as a global power. For the U.S., India is an indispensable ally in preventing the rise of an authoritarian Asia dominated by China. This makes the U.S.-India partnership not only the most consequential relationship of the 21st century, but one of the few truly transformational alliances in history.
Indo-US relationship is based on highly institutionalized relationships, person-to-person contacts, and also bound by several agreements, which is mutually beneficial. The interest of US is for India to have a close ally, and the interest of India is also to have US as a close ally. If the US is the hub for technological advancement for US, India is the most pivotal country to check the authoritarian rule of China in Asia. For India, even though the relationship between India and China has currently warmed up, in the long run, the disputes between both the countries still remain. And unless until it is rectified, the interest cannot become 100% okay. And with China's expansionistic policies, the relationship is bound to have tensions in the long run. Both China and India are rising superpowers of Asia, and there is also bound to be competition for the topmost spot. Hence, the relationship between US and India is pivotal for both India and the US, and the present tensions will give way to further peace and prosperity and coexistence in the near future. Thank you for watching Strategic Vanguard. Please join us on Deep Dive next week for another interesting topic. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this Strategic Vanguard Deep Dive. If you found value in this analysis, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We bring you fresh deep dives every Wednesday and Saturday here on YouTube and Rumble, and you can also catch the audio versions on Spotify and Amazon Music. Just search for Strategic Vanguard Deep Dive. For more insights, articles, and discussions, subscribe to our blog at strategicvanguard.com. Your support helps us grow and bring you more in-depth analysis on defense, geopolitics, and strategy. Until next time, stay informed, stay strategic.